Janela, lá no quarto andar, alguém prisioneiro não parece. Na rua constantemente, do Benfica, São Vicente, toda a gente conhece, ai, ai.
Jadi seringkali kita dikatakan otonomi itu bagi masyarakat Timur Timur masa depannya. Dan ini pada kesempatan hari ini masyarakat kumpul di tempat ini untuk bahas otonomi bagi Timur Timur, bagi masyarakat.
Satu dalam front bersama atau United Front dalam bahasa Inggrisnya. Pak Francisco Carvalho, kita nunggu lama-lama kepanasan. Para jurkam, tolong Pak Mateus tampil ke depan.
But it is up to you, the voter, to make it a success. Tetapi itu terserah kepada kalian semua sebagai pemilih untuk mensukseskan periode kampanye.
To make the campaign process a peaceful and productive process.
Supaya proses kampanye adalah suatu proses yang penuh damai dan produktif.
And I have confidence that you can accomplish this.
Pak Filomena Ximenes kalau ada. Pak Filomena tolong. Ito hutot sa Timor Leste. Ne ahuso ba ito bot sila. Makanya dia tahu ni dia foi até ele vai imi dari data na ahuso ba ito bot sila. Hiri boto dami.
Troops opened fire on a mass of demonstrators in Aceh, a response by Indonesia's military reminiscent of the Santa Cruz massacre in East Timor in 1991. But these days, such open and direct conflict between Indonesia's security forces and separatists is rare in East Timor. Such is the effectiveness of the military's 24-year-old grip on the province, a grip now further tightened with the assistance of anti-independence militias. Last year, pro-independence student demonstrations like this one in Dili yesterday were a common sight in East Timor, as students relished the new freedoms of Indonesia's post-Suharto reformasi. While this showing outside the University of East Timor might be small, it is significant. This is the first time students have dared to so publicly voice their political demands since pro-integration militias went on a campaign of destruction through the streets of Dili 2.5 weeks ago. But they are not yet willing to carry this courage outside of the capital. You were scared to go to the villages now because of the militias?
Yes, of course. So they travel. This is very big trouble for us. They stop us, so we will not come to the village, of course.
It's too dangerous?
Very dangerous. And they very hate the students. Yes, they very hate the students.
Just as students travelled these winding roads last year, speaking of independence, most of Timor's roads are now under the control of Indonesia's police, military and the pro-integrationists they support. While these guard posts invariably fly the colours of Indonesia's flag and sometimes display the names of militia groups, this police lieutenant colonel maintains they are here just to keep the peace.
Now, let's clear this up so there is no misunderstanding. Normally, this post would have a sign above it saying Neighbourhood Security Post. But because it's just been built, there is no sign yet. This post is generally used to protect against things that disrupt society. People like criminals, noisy behaviour, thieves and robbers.
This is Likasar, where up to 60 refugees from surrounding villages were killed a month ago when pro-integration militiamen attacked the town's church and priest's house. Pro-integrationists say in retaliation for activity by independent supporters. Now refugees are again living here. The police are not keen for us to speak with them, but when we do, this man tells us that they were told to come here by police to keep safe from Besi Merah Putih, the red and white iron militia. The police commander corrects the refugee, telling us that these people don't understand politics and the real reason they are here is to keep safe from pro-independence Valentil guerrillas. A Catholic relief agency worker in Dili tells another Likasar story. He claims the refugees have been forced into the town to secure their vote on autonomy.
These people, they bring back from the mountains. As long as then to gather them together and to force them to sign the same paper. Then waiting for a kind of people voting for the election, general election, or for the vote in the coming August 8th.
On the road into the old Portuguese town of Amera, southwest of Dili, we come across truckloads of men from the militia group known as Naga Merah.
This is my wish and the wish of the people of the Amera district, that we must support integration for our futures and for the future of East Timor, especially the district of Amera.
The militiamen tell us they are going to a meeting, but other sources in the district say they are heading for the nearby village of Hatolia to look for members of CNRT, the political umbrella group for pro-independence East Timorese.
Just recently I heard that there were attacks from the militias and the military moving towards the Hatolia, and there were reported several refugees coming from surrounding villages. They are centered there in Hatolia. It's more than 7,000.
According to human rights organisations, a major crackdown on independent supporters has taken place in the Amera area over the last 3 weeks. A local CNRT office in Amera has been destroyed and its leaders have been killed, jailed or forced to flee. It was the discovery by police of 11 bodies of pro-integrationists in a mass grave in the Amera area that has brought the conflict in this district to a head. News of the bodies provoked an immediate response in Amera. This house was burnt to the ground last Friday after police allege that 11 people found in the mass grave were killed by Falantil guerrillas and members of the CNRT pro-independence party. Local sources say the house was owned by a CNRT leader who has since fled Emera. A few hundred metres away, people sing to Mother Mary in Emera's Catholic Church. In contrast to other parts of Indonesia, religious unity is one of the few constants in East Timor today. The other constant is conflict between Indonesia and its loyalists and those who still dream of a different future for this troubled province.
Geser dulu.
Orang yang luka tadi sudah dibawa.
Oh, sudah ke rumah sakit. Sudah. Ya. Kalau mau ingin lebih tahu oh ya, langsung aja ke ya.
Tapi yang jelas ada satu anggota acara di mana?
Yang korban.
Yang korban.
Iya. Ada di rumah sakit.
Di rumah sakit. Yang korbannya begini aja tadi katanya, dengan pisau.
Ditikam.
Ditikam dan pisau.
Ditikam.
Ya.
Tapi bagaimana kesehatan dia?
Oh, untuk sementara kami belum tahu karena masih ditangani sama dokter.
Dan siapa yang melakukan itu?
Nah itu ya yang jelas. Kalau menurut kami sih jelas dari pro kemerdekaan itu, karena ini kan orang-orang kami Aitara itu orang pro integrasi. Ya.
Tapi buktinya belum.
Nah, buktinya kok teman saya sudah korban.
Terus
nggak mungkin kalau teman saya sendiri saya mau bunuh kan?
Ya.
An old man and his family wander along a parched riverbed in western East Timor. At 90, Lewis Martins is a witness to East Timor's many battles. But their fight now is largely with other East Timorese. Mention the local militia by name, and Lewis goes to war.
Against Bessie Meraputi?
Yeah.
That?
Yeah.
It's a view that resonates in the shell of this half-built cathedral. In the southwest town of Suai, 1,800 refugees are relying on the church to shield them from the militia's campaign of terror. It's East Timor's largest concentration of refugees, but it's a small fraction of the problem. Across the former Portuguese colony, 50,000 people are simply too terrified to go home. But the vote they expect to change everything is just days away. They can't go home, neither can they ignore the excitement. In a town where whispering you're an independence supporter is a dangerous act, they're yelling it.
This is an historical event for us, that they will feel freely and they will talk anything.
30 de agosto ne voti que dia que teve fura que teve Miami ami hakara ukun rasikan hatama ia independência hatama ia ne vaselo amila koi nedun ami oinlor hakara mate kamoris ukun rasika hidup viva 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 Ramazarda viva viva Timeko Palima viva.
Opposite the refugees across East Timor's political divide, there are tens of thousands of men with weapons. Civilian militias, the muscle of the autonomy campaign to keep East Timor as part of Indonesia. They're accused of murdering scores of independence supporters and terrorising most of the territory.
Timor langsung pro kemerdekaan elit. Pro kemerdekaan pro otonomi pun yang raimak Timor ne. Ambil apa hal saya Timor. Ambil ram fakar pun fakar itu.
At first, Mariana farmer Ruben Gonzalez didn't want us filming his men. This militia commander doesn't trust Western journalists, but eventually he let us climb aboard a pro-Indonesia convoy into one of East Timor's notorious militia strongholds. He says the pipe guns and pistols, machetes and spears are for self-defence, and he doesn't like the term militia. To him, this is more like community policing.
Pertama perhatiannya bahwa kami kelompok milisia, kami kelompok pro perdamaian. Emang kalau salah tindak, emang kalau salah tindak. Biar pro kemerdekaan harus salah tindak, pro otonomi harus salah tindak. Nema kami hahu, tu agora.
It's an unsettling feeling, riding with Ruben's militiamen into Maliana. The last time we were here, we saw how suddenly the militia can change the mood in this western town. There was a morning church service, East Timorese children singing. There was a crowd curious about a supply helicopter opposite the UN base opened just the day before. And there was the militia. Reminding everyone who rules Maliana.
Suruh saya tidak mau datang nonton helikopter dari Unamet. Mereka larang, mau paksa, mau dibunuh kalau tidak masuk besi merah putih, mau dibunuh, diancam, ditedor.
The attack shook the UN mission in East Timor. For a brief time, it looked as though militia thuggery might force the whole operation into retreat. In fact, the UN hung on, but it's still a daily battle dealing with the consequences of militia activity.
And all these troubles start by behind them, the military, behind all this group.
Another town, another refugee crisis. In Same, outspoken local priest Gelasio da Silva looks to the UN for help. All that stands between the militias and the UN refugees or anyone else is Indonesian police. And who stands behind the militias? According to Father Gelasio, it's the independence movement's long-time enemy, Indonesia's military. The military formed the militia?
Yes.
And still supports the militia?
Yes, they are. They still support the militia.
I think people are dying as a result of this crisis. It's not something that you can easily measure.
Simon Williamson is among those taking convoys of food trucks through militia-controlled East Timor to the refugees. The Australian aid worker is worried the disruption has already been so great it could lead to widespread disease and starvation.
It's certainly worse than I expected. I think the key problem at the moment is that because people haven't been able to plant their crops, there's no rice going in, there's no corn going in, that the next harvest won't be there.
Since last year, people didn't work in the corn fields and rice fields. Even now is the hard time for a coffee harvest, but some of them they abandon their coffee plantation and run for their safety for another place.
The border between East and West Timor. Some East Timorese will tell you next year they'll need a passport to go across here. They don't now. And hundreds have fled across this border in the last few months alone to escape the fear in the east. But there's a crucial difference in the camps over the border. Here, those we spoke with are running not from militias, but pro-independence forces.
Kami pro-integrasi. Jadi kami pro-integrasi takut terhadap pro-kemerdekaan. Karena mereka membunuh kami.
Leoneto dos Santos insists the ballot will decide whether he and his family ever make it back home.
Jika tim-tim merdeka kami yang pro-integrasi ini, mereka bunuh kami habis.
Anti integrasi ini kalau mau gimana halai, lali ke Hanoi.
João Tavares doesn't accept the claims that his militias have caused the refugee problem. The head of the pro-autonomy forces says he commands 50,000 men committed to keeping East Timor's links with Jakarta. In the autonomy campaign's theme tune, they sing of Indonesia's red and white flag. Their weapons left on the trucks, the men even join a scramble for lollies. The Maliana rally has a picnic quality. But there's nothing leisurely about João Tavares' forecast for East Timor once the vote is counted. He tells us to expect violence.
Memang tujuan Hanoi ini akan terjadi tambah jiwa Timor ini nunca akui kalah.
According to all the rumors that if the autonomy or if the pro-independence wins, maybe some of them head will be cut off.
João Tavares insists he wants peace after the vote, but he won't discuss what he and his forces have planned if they lose the ballot.
Saya sudah menang. Untuk apa saya jawab pertanyaan itu? Nanti kalau jajak pendapat saya kalah, baru bapak tanya saya jawab.
The only place people will be able to go to is flee across the border to West Timor.
According to aid workers, violence after the vote would turn East Timor's refugee problem into a disaster.
I mean, if there is a real serious deterioration in security, we want to get as much materials and supplies in here before that happens so people have got something to survive with.
And if it does happen, how bad could this be?
As bad as you've seen anywhere in the world from that point of view. If you can't get in here and they've got no food and medicine, or their water's cut off and they're being threatened, then and there's no help coming in, that's disaster of the worst kind for these people.
Around Suai's half-built cathedral, independence leaders say the local militia has already told them to look out. When the vote's over, they're a target.
You will see on the 1st and 2nd of September. It means that they will attack for the people, especially the refugees that right now are living in the residence of Suai Sart.
In fact, the militia threats and fears of aid workers have barely dented enthusiasm for the vote. Here, of all places, they're exposed if independence wins. A concentration of known independence supporters, defenceless in a militia-controlled town. But that fear is no longer enough to dampen excitement as East Timor votes.
Yes, please. Stay behind your place.
Wait a minute.
Give what explanation or a comment about the direct ballot today, yeah, because he didn't want to influence the counting of the vote, yeah.
Excellent. Excellent.
Mulai buat teman-teman. Bicara.
Mamuk. Ya. Ini mamuk.
Los estamos silu para el silu kita telah pakai ni lah, antar kita mau sekali pakai ni lah bel.
Nadar em água em cima de pedaços para chegar em Timor Leste. Portanto, a nosso futuro hoje em dia parece que vai acabar, mas o sofrimento não acaba pelo abaixo de cartuchos.
They have been intimidated, there's little doubt about that. We've had all sorts of reports and they've been scared. Even up until 2 days ago, people were saying they're not coming, that it's too dangerous. And they've come. They've come, word's gotten out and they're here.
Yeah, right, I hope so.
Would you give us a quick interview? You doing a quick stand-up or?
And before she left, all of this was built. Very, very moving. It's a great experience. I hope you remember it.
You know the Consul Sada Silver, Ambassador America.
Yeah.
And Commissioner Bradley. And Mrs.
But the thing goes like this, problem visas because in the dish it was like every day. Look at my sitting.
They're going to see you.
Yes.
Hook it over one half. Yeah.
And then
push it in.
once you push it in, it never comes out. Finish.
There it is.
Shall we
Yeah.
do? We're going to do
Can you
one.
hold it again?
Yeah.
There's two of them.
Yeah.
Two?
Okay.
Wonderful. Now you need to
And I know the number.
Okay, so two numbers and then what there for?
Sorry.